it has been a solid second. Jumping straight into picks and bans, we have the Rel coming out here from RNG first pick, following a Twisted Fate Nocturne and Renekton ban. And the side of FPX, we see a double support ban along with a jungler ban. Now, Nuguri locks in Udyr, of course. At the time, Udyr was one of the most contested jungles, insane clear speed and a lot of opportunity to impact the map. The Tristana now being hovered. Tristana, a tower taking monster. This is nothing new coming in from FPX. Of course, we expect to see them go with the early aggression. RNG on the other hand, let's see what they choose to lock in here. Now with the Tristana pick coming in, they could of course pick the Kai'Sa. Gala, a big fan of the champion, able to aggressively jump in, knowing exactly when, knowing the damage capabilities of the Kai'Sa, able to jump in at any point in time. Hyper aggressive gameplay, but instead going for the Lilia pick here against Udyr from Tien. And then the Ngar pick coming in from the top lane. Ngar, of course, one of the staples of Xiaohu. Xiaohu's champion pool, although not huge, does consist of some different picks like the Orianna. Of course, loves the Lucian top. Okay, Jace being covered here. On the side of FPX for Nuguri, Jace, of course, outscales Ngar in the side lane. So it'll be a nice pick to have. Also provides a nice little bit of poke. RNG, though, do have some pretty decent engage with the Rel, as well as some long range engage with the Lilia's Lilting Lullaby, along with the ball that she throws out. Ngar, of course, does have some engage range, and with Strikebreaker can further expand that. FPX here, as expected, banning out the Kai'Sa pick, and an RNG following up with a Gragas pick. Apparently not a fan of the Gragas support into the Rel. Of course, Gragas with the body slam can knock her out of the dismount. Now, FPX here, what do you think we will see coming in here? There's a lot of mid lane champions to go, and not that many AD carries. Wouldn't be surprised to see them throw in an AD carry ban here. Again, really targeting out Gala. RNG's bottom laner, really apt at being the main point of content, main carry for the game. Actually opting to go for the Azure ban in this first. RNG, it really depends, I guess, on what they look to ban. They could look to ban out the... what could they look to ban out here? I'm really not quite sure, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay, let's see. Chances are RNG, I think there's too many mid lane champions to go. That going with the not ban. This unfortunately for all you 2018-2019 World Championship lovers, that is a support targeted ban, as a bunch of mid lane champions is being rifled through at the moment. FPX do have the advantage of having last pick. Chances are that last pick will go over to Doing B. Would be I wouldn't be surprised to see a Orianna pick. Orianna coming in here, this could be a good choice. Taking that away from Crying, Xiaohu, one of his champions as well, but Xiaohu's champion has already been picked as Gala, practically insta-locks the Jinx. Does this mean it's going to be a Thumb Kench over here? Oh wait, no. Rel has been picked as well. So what will the mid laner be? Against Orianna, you could go Zoe for the early game push. You could go Victor to match the scaling of the Orianna, and that looks like what they opt to do. RNG going with quite a scaling team composition here on the left side, on blue side. Meanwhile, FPX on the other hand, with more of a snowballing, a lane to snowball down bot lane with a bit of a scaling assurance in the top lane. Looking at the Rakan pick, some hyper hard engage. However, Rakan cannot really stop with ease the Rel dismount. And they just opt to go for it. Rakan Tristana. This is not exactly something that you see very often. LWX opting to go for the cleanse here for the Lilting Lullaby, as well as Ming's chain stun ability. However, it will not really save him from the ultimate coming in from the Rel. Looking at the lanes right now, Ngar in the top lane gets outscaled, might need some additional attention, but Lilia will most probably be looking to do a lot of farming in the early game. Tien actually will most definitely be able to gank top lane very easily with the bear stun, just holding Xiaohu in place for Nuguri to jump in, win his hammer form, unload all his abilities. Chances are Xiaohu, especially if he's in little form, will not stand a chance. Mostly scaling in the mid lane. Doing B on the Orianna, that's really his staple mid lane mage pick. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, Rakan Tristana. Again, not really something I have seen too often. I kind of prefer the Rel along with the Jinx, even though that is also quite a aggressive variation of what people generally see as a scaling pick. the Jinx, of course, will have a range advantage in the early game with the rockets, however, as long as her mana pool allows it to be. As we load into the games, looking at both team compositions, I must say that I kind of enjoy FPX's team composition a little bit more. RNG, on the other hand, do have some nice scaling to fall back to, but the question, of course, turns to not whether it doesn't turn to whether the team compositions are good. It just more turns to how each team is able to effectively execute on said composition. And as that question lingers in the air for just a moment more, we are now loading into the game. Let's see. Where do we expect? We expect to see, by far and beyond, we expect to see Tian focus a bit harder on the top side of the map. Bottom lane, of course, you'll be able to focus bottom lane as well, but I fully expect to see him snowball the Jace, because at one point, once Jace gets 2 items, he becomes more than a match for that Gnar in the side lane, at which point Gnar is going to want to group up with his team and use his ultimate to impact team fights, where Jace will not have such an impact as long as he doesn't get as much poke down. Defenses start coming in from both teams along the river, a few quick wards being dropped in the early game along with a recall. So there is now a sweeper on both the support of RNG as well as the jungler of FPX. But aside from that, doesn't look like we're going to be seeing too much more. On the side of RNG, Wage is going to want to be farming and staying around perhaps the top side to achieve some counter ganks against Tian, without of course letting himself get killed or being put in a disastrous position. Aside from that, let's just see how Wei manages to play the early game. Beautiful thing about League of Legends, ladies and gentlemen, is that the early game is mostly about vision and what the junglers can do. Because most of the times the laners will be playing their kind of game. They'll understand that there's no point risking the entire lane and to an extent the entire game for just some early game style points. Because killing the enemy, after all, is not the objective. The objective is for you to get ahead or for them to get behind. And in the mid lane, a little bit of trading going down here. Shields coming in from both the mid laners as we look at the items. Nothing too particularly interesting coming out. Runes as well are pretty standard. Xiaohu going for the Grasp of the Undying, as opposed to Fleet Footwork, could be seen as something kind of interesting in my opinion. Imagine he'd want to get that Fleet Footwork to get a bit of that sustain coming. But then that being said, it is worth mentioning that in range form, it really doesn't give you too much as RNG is stepping up now. The fight for level 2 begins. Looks like Chris manages to get it just before RNG does, as a flash coming in over the crash down. Gala trying his best kite away, still has flash, holding on to it so greedily. Fantastically well played. LWX with the reset from his bomb, able to jump out of it. Had to use flash also to get over the stun coming in from Ming, just hitting level 2 a second before RNG. FPX jumping straight in onto Gala. Gala at quarter HP as Ming jumps in onto Crisp as well, but Crisp has the E to get away from it, walks back and slaps Ming a little bit over the shoulder, and level 2 aggression down at bot lane subsides. Very nice play coming in here. FPX's bot lane not yielding any ground. Ming stepping up so aggressively, and then Crisp and Elderblack stepping up even more aggressively. Early game bot being chucked down as both junglers just about finished their full clear. Oh, down bottom, looks like it. True, LW got stunned up by Ming. Oh my god, Gala flashing into the battle dance, gonna get killed off by the bomb, and one more auto attack coming in from Chris. But in the mid lane, again coming in from Wei, actually secures Doing B as a kill. Doing B using his flash, crying as well as Wei. Tons of flashes blown over the board. Only the top laners and the jungler for FPX has their flash remaining. As a chase starts now, Doing B and Tian looking for some remorse, looking for some retribution as Wei is spotted out. Pink ward in the Raptor bush, blue buff, red buff bush of RNG side. Meanwhile, the only peaceful lane where things aren't really happening thus far is in the top side with Xiaohu and Nuguri just trading CS as more. We see here Doing B overextending, trying to get a kill on the Crime, popping the biscuits, giving him that little bit of extra sustain, and Wei jumping in. Last auto attack flying in there from Crying was not enough as Wei uses his last auto attack to secure the kill. Xiaohu just pushing out the wave and returning back to base. Already 4 minutes in and 3 kills on the board. FPX only 100, 200 gold behind at this point in time. Unfortunate misplay coming in there from the bottom side as LWX did get caught overextended slightly as Crisp was boarding. Good choice there by Ming to jump in onto that lone Tristana who did not have any summoner spells and was not able to buffer her rocket jump in time. Now Tian is in the bot side, has managed to secure away that Scuttle Crab. Chris trading some damage back down in the bottom side of the map. as Wei now rounds the corner. Does FPX know? A lot of mobility from this bottom lane. Looks like Wei realizing that, not wanting to chance anything. Unbeknownst to him though, Tian is stealing away his Raptors buff, and Tian just shifting where the pink ward is at. A nice little surround coming in here. Wei does not have flash, but Tian does. Walks into the bush, into a bear slap. Doing B with his little bit of mana is able to help out, and Tian in the most unexpected position in the jungle of Wei turns the corner and just ravages him in front of his red buff. Now looks like a 4-man dive is being set out here. Teleport coming in. It's now a 5-man dive as a counter teleport coming in from Xiaohu. This will probably signal the retreat here for FPX as Xiaohu instant teleport coming in, saving his bottom lane. Now some damage being traded back and forth depending on how this goes. This could signal FPX to continue their dive, but Crying has pushed in the mid wave and is forcing Doing B back into lane. Doing B with 0 mana is most likely looking to get a recall off as soon as he picks up that mid wave. Meanwhile, Tian and LWX in full vision of RNG begin to take the dragon. RNG say, not in my face. LWX jumping in onto Crying, but Crying doesn't have the damage to take him out just yet. Wei jumping in, LWX stunned out by the gravity field as the dragon goes over. Tian flashing over the wall, looking for Crying. Crying does not have flash still, neither does Wei. Wei cannot do anything as Tian is taken out. Ming is in a terrible position as he gets knocked up by the Rakan. LWX jumping in, but he's got no HP. Ring is still alive, but Ngar finishes off Udyr, finishes off the Tristana. Catastrophe is unfolding. Xiaohu is gonna triple kill. Nuguri is being left to hang and dry. Is this going to be a quadra kill? It most definitely is as Wei steals away the quadra. Catastrophe strikes as a little Ngar in between the side of FPX, just picking up kill after kill. Udyr going down first, followed by LWX, who jumps in with 0 HP on to try and finish Ming. Ming actually surviving that for the longest time before eventually dropping to the side of RNG. I cannot believe how that went. Well, good news is that Nuguri does have a wave building towards him, which he'll be able to collect, so he didn't really lose too much. That being said, Xiaohu, with the 3 kills that he just picked up and 1 assist, all smiles right now as we see on the camera, is honestly not that far behind. He's about that 15 CS he may have been behind, I think is well and truly made up for. LWX incredibly aggressive, jumping in onto Crying, being the early game victor, does not have the damage, but able to drop the gravity field, keeping him in place for a way to offload most of his damage, as well as Tian flashing over the wall here. Ming rounding the corner at the right side of your screen here. Chris, a beautiful battle dance just to disrupt him, and somehow Ming staying alive. That stun coming in very, very clutch as there we see Wei in the background with Xiaohu just wreaking havoc. Everyone just hard focusing in each other's carries, and meanwhile Xiaohu and Wei just in the back lines free hitting. Meanwhile in the mid bot side here, Tian trying to wrestle away the red buff from the bottom lane of RNG. Wei is nowhere to be near, nowhere to be found, and therefore this red buff will very well and easily truly go over to the side of Tian. Now, all things considered, Nuguri also managed to pick up 2 kills, so the CS lead that he's managed to garner over in the top lane is actually not too minimal. It cannot be discounted entirely, or maybe even at all, if we're going to be completely honest. Now, Dragon has died, and the next objective on the map is this Rift Herald in 15 seconds. Looking at the state of the map, I would say that FPX have a slight bit of priority in the top lane. That being said, Xiaohu, considering he has no mana bar, will be able to eventually wrestle control and be able to contest the waves decently. Nuguri is now building towards his Eclipse as we speak, and so far seems to have had a pretty free and chill lane. That being said, he hasn't been able to put too much pressure on to Xiaohu either. And Xiaohu though is really the one who probably wants to be putting on a little bit more pressure, because Nuguri, again, like I mentioned, will be stronger in the side as 10 rounds con again, trying to disrupt the jungler of RNG as much as possible, stealing away as many buffs, little camps, and everything as possible. A smite advantage actually goes in favor of Tian, but somehow Wei able to steal it out from underneath the snozzle of Tian. That was really weird because Tian was level 7 and Wei was level 6, but I suppose that little bit of burst that Wei added on to the tail end of that allowed him to secure that blue buff away from the clutches of the man bear tiger bird turtle. Now, both supports are now both junglers are now onto the map as Rift Herald has started up here by the side of RNG. Gala is still pinned beneath the tower in the bottom side of the map as LWX is making his way up as well. 10 rounding the corner signals RNG that they need to back off. So far in terms of positioning, I must say FPX are in a much more comfortable position. Mid wave is pushing in favor of FPX. The Rift Herald is going down, but in the top side, Nuguri is being engaged on by Xiaohu. Xiaohu does not have Megaform, does not have the ability to use his ultimate. LWX, upon entering mid lane, realizes that his team has already handily secured it and just backs off towards the bot side, really losing nothing as the wave is now just reaching his tower. A rocket jump and a blast plant away, and he's only lost 1 million for that rotation. Beautiful bad play coming in here from FPX as Rift Herald is dropped in mid lane to soften up the tower and to make it soft squishier for the next Rift Herald that will most definitely inadvertently be heading down the mid lane if FPX manage to secure it, if RNG allow them to secure it. What are both teams playing for? See, FPX most likely playing for the early to mid game 2-item power spikes and just take it, run the enemy down. While RNG, the longer they can allow the game to go beyond the 2-item point is the happiest moment for them as Ming rounds the corner down. Does have flash, does have exhaust, LWX has cleanse flash as well as rocket jump. Just uses the rocket jump, and Ming with the crash down realizes that all the summoners up will not be able to get much more than that without having to spend just as much himself. Doing B so far hasn't really moved out of the mid lane, only an attempted 5-man gank in the bottom side, which was averted by Xiaohu's teleport, which is nearly up now. Nuguri and Xiaohu have similar teleport timings as Dragon is spawning in the next 6 seconds. Doing B has gotten a bit of mid prior already, but Crying, with the fact that Dragon is coming out as well, has teleported to the mid lane to try and wrestle some control back. Wei is down here as well. Crisp and LWX walking down. LWX has been hit by the swirl seed. Will this trigger a little thing lullaby? Looks like it will not as Dragon is started up. Xiaohu is in the mid lane. Nuguri in the top side. Both do not have teleport, which means Nuguri will not be part of this fight. Xiaohu could potentially be part of this fight. Unfortunately, it is for naught because he does not arrive in time. FPX stealing it away under the noses of RNG. And Nuguri also winning big here, getting some top lane plating, denying farm into the tower. Xiaohu teleport nearly out, will not be able to use it in time. Nice little play coming in here from FPX. Using the fact that Xiaohu wants to group off a team fight, but more on that later as here comes, wow, beautiful stun coming in from Ming. Gala dropping the chompers as well as teleport coming in here from Nuguri. There is no counter teleport from Xiaohu as Xiaohu looks down to the bot side and realizes that it is a hopeless situation. Nuguri trying to tower dive a rel support over here. Chris flashing forward with his ultimate as well as the battle dance, but somehow, some way, Ming stun coming in clutch beautifully, and Gala with the follow-up chompers. Honestly, RNG's bottom lane are playing phenomenally in this first game. Of course, things may not look like they're going that way, but FPX is also playing very well. RNG also has a lot of potential to bring the game over to... Excuse me, to bring the game over to... Wait, that might be genius. As the Jinx rocket coming in, smacking LWX in the face as he's attempting to recall, actually disrupting his tempo slightly. Xiaohu now, in return for Nuguri's gank in the bot side, able to deny some farm towards the top tower as well as get some playthings of his own. Most definitely a welcome reprieve from that. So both top laners kind of even right now, most likely, considering there's a 1 kill advantage in favor of Nuguri. That should offset some of the 30 or so CS lead that he's managed to acquire in the top side as both supports about to run into each other in the bot side. River, Crisp rounding the corner into Ming. Whew. Now in the mid lane, Doing B running out of mana as per usual. This is kind of the state that we very often see Doing B in the mid lane, if you've noticed. Especially when he's playing the Orianna, not afraid at all to use that resource. As Wei now in the top side looking to get a gank off onto Nuguri. Xiao, who is nearly making Alpha. Nuguri sensing some danger, walks into the bush as in comes Xiao, who is slapped up by the little thing Lalai, pinned against the wall and just had everything, literally everything, thrown at him while he is CC'd under the tower. Nice little setup coming in there. Very hard to make that setup work as Xiaohu needed to be in the exact form he was, just on the edge of becoming Mega Ngar, literally becoming Mega Ngar as it was able to. But meanwhile, in the bottom side, Tian is pillaging Wei's jungle. Wei so far has been the point of focus from FPX throughout this game. Looks like FPX not wanting to actually play through any lane, actually just wanting to play through the superior jungle. As a nice flash coming in from Crying, going over the shockwave, but Crying not able to outplay the bear slats, but somehow manages to survive. Not enough damage coming in here from the side of FPX. I suppose that Dubin also needs a few items before he is able to perform and able to do the damage, and then the gravity field coming in, stunning up the Udyr, which is going to be the main form of damage between the two in this early point in time. Now, Rift Herald will not be spawning yet, And the next dragon is in 1 minute and 50 seconds. Let's see the state of the map. So bot tower has gone down for the side of RNG. Meanwhile, on the top side, FPX's tower has been taken as well. Pretty even game so far. Even in terms of kills, a slight gold lead, 1,000 gold in favor of RNG. But RNG already in position looking to try and contest this Rift Herald, contest the vision for this Rift Herald, as Crying is heading down into the bot side to get a quick push before he runs up to join his team as well, trying to force as much resources into the wastage as he can for FPX, as Tien rounds corner, trying to get some of that top priority as well, allowing Nuguri to roam around the map, perhaps looking for a tower dive here. Crisp is a little bit deep, has probably been spotted out by that pink ward that Doing B is clearing out right now. Ming realizing that there are a lot of bogeys in the area, forced to concede the tower is Xiaohu, as he knows of the presence of at least Crisp and Tien in the top side of the map. As a flash coming in here from Elder Blacks, rocket jump forced out, and the cleanse coming in as well. I think that cleanse was kind of unnecessary. Now there's no cleanse for the dragon in 50 seconds. That being said, the Lilting Lullaby, another massive team fight ultimate, is also down. No mythic item for the side of Gala. Meanwhile, Elder Blacks has already finished his Kraken Slayer up, which means that overall, in terms of items, FPX are most definitely hit. Additionally, the jungler Tien is an item up on Wei. Wei still not finished his mythic item. Wei has done a fantastic job, all things considered, in keeping up in levels with Tien, because Tien actually has been pillaging his bottom side. Meanwhile, Xiaohu's starting up the Rift Herald to see if he can try and sneak it away or get it kind of low, to see if FPX trying to call FPX out to trade the Rift Herald in favor of the Dragon. I think there's a good choice coming in from RNG, because you can always fight for 4th Dragon, even though it does put you in a slightly uncomfortable position for the rest of the game. The fact remains that if Rift Herald is taken, you will most likely lose another tower. In this case, it's definitely going to be mid lane tower, after which point there's very, very little chance for you to hold. Oh my goodness, a beautiful play coming in from Chris, using the... Oh no, teleport coming in from Xiao, who actually cancelled because he teleported to the tower. This is a disaster, as Nuguri is now just chasing down Ming Wei, and Ming way behind enemy lines, as Wei just trying to get back to Crying in the top side. 2 kills coming over on the side of Doing B, as Elderbeck's jumping over the wall, clearing out the wave and using the rocket to try and get some damage off, as Xiao Hu is trying to strike breaker forward and jump onto Elderbeck. He unfortunately might be in a terrible position right here, as in comes Tien, jump comes over, but Xiao Hu forces his flash. He's actually trying to stack up his Mega Gun as much as possible. Tien tanking up so much damage, unfortunately. Not as here comes the Mega Dive Rocket. Oh, but he's just too tanky. And LWX is kind of asking for trouble, being so far up at this point. He gets hit by a swirl seed, he will be put to sleep. He does not have cleanse, he does not have flash. He needs to dodge this like his life depends on it, because it very, very much does at this point in time. Like, thankfully for him, Doing B is in the area as well and able to show his presence through the ball. Oh, whoa, Crisp making some big plays here. Okay. All things considered, this has been a pretty chill game by LPL standards. The way he does have his stopwatch now, able to flash in and use his Q. See, look here, Crisp using his ultimate and then using Doing B, flashing over to get himself that little bit more range he needs to use his W, and then teleport being cancelled by Nuguri, just destroying the tower, and then Ming and Wei both realizing they are way too far up. Ming just sacrificing himself and allowing Wei to escape through topside towards Crying. Gala here, that's the life of the immobile AD carry. Unfortunately, you really can do little. Rakan's engage range is so far, especially when he has that flash available to him. Let's just see, I suppose, what RNG can do in this game. So, as to be expected, FPX now pulling away in the mid game with the team composition that they have drafted for themselves. 2 items now onto the AD carry of FPX. Meanwhile, only 1 item complete by Gala. Not even close to finish his 2nd item. In the mid lane as well, Doing B, despite being down a bit on CS, is about half a completed item up on Crying. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Ming jumping with his ultimate, but whiffing that completely. Tien and Crisp look to be in a completely safe position. Tien still had flash, and Crisp has the mobility that Rakan is known to have. Doing B just trying to scout out and just invade as much of RNG's bottom side jungle as possible, wanting to take away as much resources as possible. Eventually though, Wei, despite his best efforts, looks to be falling behind. Not yet, but nice little bit of damage coming in there, but the red buff will allow him to heal it up. Besides, Gala saying he was looking to back off and return to base after all. This Tristana pick is really coming in spades for the side of FPX. This is of course what we expected to see from the Tristana pick. A tower taking monster, mid-game power spiking AD carry. Whoo! As the Rift Herald is dropped over the wall very cheekily from the side of RNG, able to force out some damage onto the mid tower. So by no means was this Rift Herald wasted at all. Wei very, very sneakily getting the damage in. And I've never seen a Rift Herald used like that before. I might I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. Now, Tian running up towards the top side, seeing Xiao Hu counter jungle his own jungler, but at this point in time, it's pretty much just saving resources away, taking resources away from the enemy jungler as he's going to be all up in your jungle. Wei hasn't had the opportunity to touch his jungle for so long, but somehow has managed to stay up in CS. So honestly, all things considered, Wei is doing a fantastic job up in the jungle right now. Now, Baron is spawning in 50 seconds. Looks like FPX are very much and well and truly in position to capitalize on that. Whew! Nuguri now looks like he's skipping out on his Muramana and going instead for a Yomuns perhaps? That is an interesting choice, as you'd expect him to want to complete that Muramana to begin shredding down Xiaohu, but I suppose he really is more interested in doing more damage to the less armored units of RNG. Could this be a team fighting variant of the Jace build? As Dragon is also spawning in 50 seconds. Now, the question. RNG, will you trade Winsoul for Baron? Right now, I don't know if RNG can fight FPX. They've got mythics on almost all their champions except for their supports. Meanwhile, FPX have generally an item lead over... They have an item lead over their proponents as, oh my god, Wei is being one-shotted by Doingby. Doingby using his shockwave will not have that for the next fight. However, Wei is low right now. 20 seconds is just about enough for him to recall and trot back into the Dragon Pit. However, I think that is all FPX needed in order to win this, as Nuguri is also getting some poke down onto Xiaohu and Ming. Mid priority is in favor of RNG. RNG looking to trade mid tower for Dragon, but at this point in time, it looks, oh no, still able to get some good poke down with the Victor as well as the Ngar. Winsoul most definitely going over to the side of FPX, sorry. There's nothing RNG can do. Doingby seeing the opportunity to just chunk out and even kill the... Oh! No! Super Mega Death Rocket coming in there from Gala, actually stealing that away. That's a huge steal. That is absolute crime that we have just witnessed. Somebody call 911, ambulance, cops, and the entire entourage. Fire truck as well, in fact, as FPX is just got robbed right in front of a crowd of thousands. I cannot believe that. Gala going off with that rocket timing. Cannot believe nobody blocked it. FPX had 5 people in the pit. RNG honestly wasn't even close. And somehow Tian not smiting it in time. But oh well. All things considered, this could be huge. This could be potentially huge. Because Doingby opening up a window for his team, and then Gala just reaching through the cracks. No, I mean, Doingby slamming the window shut in the face of... Oh, okay, more on that in a second as Crying drops gravity field, but Tian is just too quick as the shockwave comes in. Crying is flashed on by Tian, tries to flash away, but in comes Crisp. 3 members of RNG are in the area, but 3 members of FPX are here as well, as in comes Xiaohu with the strike breaker, using his ultimate, catching out Doingby and securing himself 2 kills on the side of RNG for the 1 mid laner of... Wait, 2 kills onto FPX from the 1 kill of RNG. Unbelievable play coming in here from the side of RNG, actually capitalizing on it so well as Nuguri is teleporting in. Now this is a 3v4 situation. Crying does have teleport in 13 seconds. Will FPX be able to pry RNG off of this Baron? It is not in the will of LPL to give up objectives for free, regardless of whether you're a man down or not, as we have just witnessed across this game. It is the theme indeed of this match, as Gala stealing away the dragon, and what we see here, 3 people just teleporting in, deciding we are going to fight this regardless of whether we have a jungler, regardless of whether we have a mid laner or not. Whew. Oh my goodness, my heart is beating, ladies and gentlemen. A very widely anticipated game, as we see here. Crying caught out of position, but tries to put down gravity field, but Tian sucking in his belly, just skirting the edges of it, and then Crying sucked in by the shockwave. Tian flashing after the flash from Crying, and then Wei using stopwatch to buy himself the time he needs for Ming and Gala to get in position, and Xiaohu seeing that Tian is already in the clutches of his team, using the Mega Nga to pull Doingby back into the party. You ain't going nowhere. This is a reverse bouncer. You cannot leave, you must stay kind of situation, as Crying, oh no, caught out again by Tian. This time Chris is in the area as well. Crying does not have flash, but for some reason FPX deciding to not. up for that. Maybe some fear that RNG will instead capitalize on the other side of the map and take Baron for themselves, have plenty of damage they do, with Gala finishing out his Phantom Dancer as well, the second person on his team to finish out the second item. Xiaohu on the top side probably is doing pretty well for himself. 5 kills, 180 CS, down 50 CS, but still keeping up in terms of the number of items along with the rest of the champions in the game. Oh, LWX so far has been farming out a storm and a half. It's just pretty much everywhere the CS is, and now FPX are in control of the map. LWX is channeling his recall now, could have completed his Infinity Edge at this point in time, but RNG are resetting now onto the map. Tian and Crisp trying to work together to secure as much of the vision away from the side of RNG as possible. And as mentioned, LWX has completed his Infinity Edge, still a whole 2/3 of an item up onto Gala. And things are looking kind of grim still for RNG, but the fact remains that things have kind of gone their way in the last few fights. Managed to steal away the dragon, managed to get a 1-for-2 trade in the top side, mid lane for mid lane as well as jungler. But the next point of contention will be this, most likely this Winslow. This Winslow, because it looks like even though the Baron dance is going on as we see across the past few minutes, so far neither team has done nothing as Elderberg's hit up there by the Swirl Sea could trigger a little thing lullaby, but with the rocket jump he has put himself in the hands of his team and he is in completely safe position as here comes the fight for vision in the river. RNG moving S5 into the FPX. Oh, big damage. Gala chunked to half HP. Thankfully the honey fruits are in position there for him to get some health coming back. Gala does have heal, does have flash, however does not have cleanse, so if he is hit by that charm he could be in some danger as Xiaohu jumping forward, jumping in onto Crisp flashing away from Xiaohu, but Xiaohu is the only one able to hit up Crisp. Tian jumping in onto Xiaohu is so tanky though when he is in the Mega Nga form. And Crisp actually having to use his flash, which is good enough here. Xiaohu also forced to use his flash, will have his ultimate up for the next fight. However, most likely if he's able to channel, if able to stack his bar up with that. Looks like RNG seems set to trade Baron for Winslow and Xiaohu starting up Baron again. Looks like RNG has elicited a response from FPX. FPX moving up as well, not wanting to give RNG anything, realizing that this trading when they are the ones who are ahead will not be beneficial to them. Somehow, despite being 4k down, looks like RNG are in a very comfortable position, but looks like LWX is just sneaking away Winslow here for the side of his team. A little reset threatened here by the Winslow. Unfortunately for RNG, I think they made a great choice, and the outcome might not have been so great for them, but it was still a fantastic choice. A nice little bit of fight coming in here from RNG. 2 kills, 1 kill down, 2 towers down, and about 4k down. RNG still able to, dictate to a certain extent the map slightly. It's just FPX are not falling for any of the tricks, not looking to actually trade for anything, putting their people where they need to be, assigning positions very, very effectively. Let's see how the rest of this game goes with no objective on the map for the next 5.5 minutes. This Baron buff is the only point of contestation left, as a teleport is coming in here from Doing B, wanting to be in position before anything starts out. What is left of RNG's vision is now being cleared up by Crisp as the Baron is started up by Tian. In vision of RNG, you would imagine. However, it looks like the poke coming in from Nuguri playing goalkeeper is enough to just keep RNG out of position, and just like that, Baron very anticlimactically is taken. Chris blocking out the Super Mega Death Rocket, not wanting to repeat of the times past, and just like that, the RNG not in position to contest Baron. They were doing so well up until this point, and now I think the game is just broken open irreversibly. FPX as 5 barely lost any HP on that Baron buff, have Winslow, which doesn't really contribute too much in a fight right now, has Winslow and has Baron buff as stun coming in there from Elderbergs, but Cry and Gala pulled in by the shockwave. Thankfully for them, no one was in position to jump in on that Elderbergs. I'm not quite sure if he was saved by the gravity field, as seeing as to how he's been fighting, might have just rocket jumped straight into his death. So I thought that Cry found a nice pick, that Doing B finding himself a good pick as well, using his ultimate to save his AD carry, to disrupt any form of aggression coming in there from the side of RNG, causing quite a bit of panic, I imagine, in RNG's comms when both of their squishy carries gets pulled in by an Orianna ulti. Thankfully, not doing too much damage just yet, as perhaps one more item, either a Void Staff or a Death Cap, will lead Doing B to doing tons of damage and most likely one-shotting someone, as in comes Tian, forcing Gala Flash over the wall, but he flashes into the hands of Chris. Chris, realizing that no one is here to fall up on him, jumps in onto Ming instead, as Tian flashing after Gala. Gala has nothing left, is just pounced on, is just engaged on Tian, making the big plays, running in bear stance with the Dead Man's Plate, as well as the Nimbus Cloak. Jumps in, otherwise flashing in after crying, actually killing him off. Oh my goodness. Unfortunate turn events, as the entire game just fell apart within the last 3 minutes for the side of RNG. Looks like wherever Xiaohu is not, RNG has no power, and just like that, Xiaohu now in little form is being jumped on, pounced on by the Phoenix's 5-man Phoenix of FPX, way jumping in, a nice lilting lullaby coming in. Unfortunately, there's no one to fall up in that position. Elderbear is just jumping in like a little kid in a candy store, gouging himself on all the delectable bounties available in the baskets. And just like that, FPX steal away game 1 in an awfully anticlimactic fashion. You know, just strangling out RNG up to the very end. Not at all the kind of game I expected to see, but very, very well played macro-wise from the side of FPX. RNG, they got some things to work on there. They probably need to, they put a real good fight up until that last point in time. As mentioned, they just need to keep on fighting and keep on pushing and not take any breaks. FPX just went. That's the beauty of how they play. FPX, it's not that FPX played it like even better than they were playing it. FPX just was so consistent in the way they played it, and then RNG just needed to match that consistency and put a bit more. Unfortunately, the consistency dropped for just a small point in time, and from that point on, FPX, like the Predators, like the Tigers that they are, just pounced on it, like the Phoenixes, I'm sorry, just swooped down and grabbed RNG with their talons and never let go. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, game 1 ends here, and we will catch you tomorrow for game 2 of the widely anticipated FPX vs RNG. This series is most definitely expected to hit 5 games. So far, RNG perhaps not able to do so much in game 1, but let's see what their answer is. Let's see what their response is to FPX's suffocating strategy in game 2. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see ya!